el exec, el Vélez, el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 112 of the Exec Talk podcast. I'm your host, Del Velez. How we doing? 1 day away from the NBA Finals, game one. This episode right here, this is going to be known as the pre-finals breakdown, a legacy episode, okay? We're going to go in and out, backwards and forwards, diagonal, transdimensional, okay? We're going to skip planets and galaxies and talk about this finals in every way possible, okay? So if you're here for a breakdown that is, complete to the role players, to the coaches, historical significance, legacy building, what this means for the future of the NBA, you came to the right place, okay? So let's start by setting up the stage. What in the beginning of the year could have told us that this would be the final? And if we start with Boston, it's easy. They were the pre-hervited favorite. They made two huge trades, acquiring Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday to add to Derek White, to add to Jason Tatum, to add to Jaylen Brown, to add to Al Horford. You gave up Marcus Smart, but you get Drew in return, a Hall of Fame defender. You get Kristaps Porzingis, a 7'3" sniper from the 25 feet, one of the best shot blockers in the NBA, just put up the best post-up season in the last 25 years, and the last 10 years of efficiency. So you were prohibitive favorite from day one the season. So what told us that it would be in the finals? Well, there's two things for me. One is just an overlapping amount of talent, and the philosophy of a regular season to be left up to basically math and knowing that you got the best five on the floor mostly at all times, if not at all times. Okay? But for Boston, there was always question marks. Whenever the question came out, who could beat Boston, even when they were rolling in the regular season, the question marks out of the East was the Knicks when they started rolling, Philadelphia when Embiid was healthy and going on the 35-a-game pace of the MVP that he was going on, when Philadelphia was number 2, and they seemed very formidable. That's stuff that we don't remember. Giannis and Dame, about they're going to figure it out, right? This is all the things we thought. Miami, if everybody was healthy and the bugaboo of last year just shows up again. But there wasn't a real argument to be said about, they're going to get there. But there was always a question about, can they win it? It's never been about, can you get there with the Boston Celtics, especially for Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, now the last 2 years, Joe Mazzulla. It's always been about, can you finish the job? And as a Celtics, if you look at history, it's been since 2008. They went 3 times straight. 2008, they won 7 games against the Kobe. Kobe got Powell. Then he goes 09 and 10, the same big 3. KG, the Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, and Rondo, versus Kobe and Powell, Odom, Trevor Ariza, Derek Fisher. That was the window with that big 3. 1 title. Before that, you had to go, I believe, to the a Larry Bird team. 90 was the Pistons. 89 was the Pistons. 88. 88, I think, was the last either Celtic championship of that historic Larry Bird run that he won the 3 against the Lakers, or it was Magic's last one. Magic's 5th. I know the 86 team was one of the greatest teams of all time, the Celtics team. So you're going back, we're in 2024. You got to go back 24 years. There's only one title. And before that, you have to go at least 10 to 13 years back to the late 80s, mid 80s, 85, 83, early 80s of those Celtics teams. But before that, you had amassed the greatness that is the 16 banners. The 17th banner was, in 2008. So it's been 16 years. And, to understand what it is to be out of 8 years of those 16, you've gone to the Eastern Conference. Out of 8 years, in 8 years of that 16, you had a run with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, including Jason Tatum's rookie year, that basically you've made it to the tippity top of the conference every single year. 6 Eastern Conference finals. And at some point, even though Tatum just turned 26, at some point you start questioning, why can you get there and not finish the job? So in those 6 conference finals, how many finals appearances they have? 1, 2022. And instead of trying to cement a legacy at 24, that you're that dude, talking about Tatum, you let your running mate play better than you. Let's just talk about what it is. Jaylen Brown play like this. Jason Tatum play like this. And that's not what matches up with the talent. So everybody was like, oh, Jason Tatum. I mean, he has to, like Kendrick Perkins said, he has to complete the mission. If he wants to be one of those Celtics great to ever wear the uniform, he has to complete the mission. But what if this is just a team that is not meant to complete the mission? And the reason they're not meant to complete the mission in this iteration in what they have is also 2 things. In 2022, they had the coach of the year, Ime Udoka. He was a defensive specialist. And even though they got cooked by Curry, game 3 through 5, game 3 through 6, you had to understand. I mean, no, because they were 2-1. Game 4 to 6, you had to understand that the defense they were playing on Steph Curry was incredible. This was without Kristaps Porzingis and without Jrue Holiday. So do I understand the argument that they're like, oh my God, they're just the most talented team, and JT doesn't have to be the best. It could be Jaylen Brown, it could be Derek White one night, it could be Jrue Holiday, it could be Kristaps. Yes and no. Because, like I said last pod, over the last, if you want to go 20 years, 30 years, there has always been on the championship team a arguably top 30, top 20 all-time player on those championship teams. Okay? It's just what it is. Those are the players that win. Shaq, Kobe, Jordan, Magic, Kareem, Bird, LeBron, Curry, Giannis, Jokic, Kawhi, you can say something, Duncan, and then the old four Pistons. That's it. What you want to do? You want to put Dirk in there? I think Dirk is a top 20 player of all time. He's still considered the greatest European player of all time, although Jokic and Doncic are going to fight over that for the next 10, 15 years. But, he retired being the greatest European player in NBA history and 6th all time in scoring. So, yeah, I think he's a top 20 player. Maybe 25. Okay, there's a lot of good players. I understand, but Dirk was that. He was that dude. He got a name. He got famous for his shot. Like, it's a shot that now Luka does to perfection, which is the one knee up fadeaway from like 17, 18 feet, fading back. So the contest, you don't see it. You just put more arc on the ball because he was 7 foot. Now, back to the Celtics. So one thing was Ime Udoka. You know what happened there. He, relations with a staff member. Celtics felt it on their behalf that was unacceptable, inexcusable. Boom, you're fired. Joe Mazzulla from the back of the bench to the front. Brad Stevens, the mastermind that has built this team after being its coach when Kyrie was there, and Tatum in the younger years of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Brad Stevens goes up to the GM position and starts building this team. So the argument that I'm putting out here is for the Celtics. What you got to show, what the Celtics have to show is that those 64 wins were valid, is that the 12-2 playoff record against mid, because that's what you faced, is valid, and that Jason Tatum being a top 5 player in the league and an MVP candidate for the years to come is valid. They do that? Personally, I don't think so. But then you tell me, Josh, but why? Drew Holiday, champion. That's it. That's it. That's all you got. Drew Holiday. Who are you facing on the other side? Kyrie. One of the most, if not the most skilled player to ever touch a basketball. Okay? So you lose that matchup just based on the fact that nut cutting time, Kyrie gonna show up. And if you test him, he'll embarrass you. Okay, so let's go to your stars. Your 2 superstars. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. They are, it's funny. It's funny. They are a different side of the same coin. On one side, you have the ultra talented, the God gift, the given ability, the 6'9", long arms, hellacious defender, smooth game, has everything from the 3 to the mid, 4-level score, because there's 4 levels. JJ Redick has broken that down. LeBron's broken that down. A lot of people, NBA defenders, have broken down the 4 levels. The 4 levels is the rim, mid post, which is basically like 10, 12 feet. Jokic's like dream spot. DeMar DeRozan's DeMar DeRozan's the 3rd level scorer, which is that mid range. That De'Aaron Fox, Kyrie, Ant, Luka, Tatum, Brown, Jimmy, those type of jumpers. And then you have the Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, Luka, Kyrie, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, range. And even then, they have talked about maybe a 5th, and that's being the deep, the Steph Curry, Damian Lillard range, the Kevin Durant range. And at the same time, he don't have that dog in him. So you got every type of scoring that you have. You got the handle. You can pass. You can rebound. 6'9", length, vertical, competitive. But you really don't have that killer in you. You don't got it. It didn't show up for you in the gene profile. It didn't show up for you. You got the dice roll, but you didn't roll triple sixes, double sixes. You were at the craps table and you got a flush, not a royal flush. Now you can make a championship with that. You can make a couple championships with that, but you're missing the one intangible that you need in order to succeed against a guy on the other side that does have that intangible. And that's exactly why I said, regardless of who got out of the West, whether it was Jokic, Luka, Ant, or even SGA, they were going to whoop the Eastern team, even if it was Boston. Because every single one of those dudes has that intangible. You didn't have to face two of the guys in your three. You missed out on three of the guys who has that same trait in your conference. You missed out on Jimmy, you missed out on Giannis, and you missed out on Brunson. Yes, I put Brunson up there. He is that dude. Okay? So now you got the stage. You're at home, number 1 seed, historic season. And the funniest thing is, I saw a graphic today. Jason Tatum has won the 4th most playoff games at age 26 and younger. The other 3 dudes, Kobe, Shaq, and Duncan, I believe. No, Tony Parker. At this stage, they already had 3 championships. All of them. Kobe, Tony Parker, and Shaq. All of them had 3 chips. You know how many Jason Tatum has? Winning 64 games before his being age 26 or younger? 0. 1 finals appearance. And in that finals appearance, he had the chance because he had the more talented team. They had a 96% chance. Coming in, they had like an 88% chance. BPI put it at a crazy stat. I think it was 93%. It was like to win the series. This is pre-game 1. Then they win game 1. Okay? Then they win game 1. Then Golden State 1-1. Then they go to Golden State. And win game 3. Oh, 2-1. 2-1. Actually, no. It started in Golden State. They took first game 1 in Golden State. Game 2 was the Andrew Wiggins game. 1-1. Game 3, you win in Boston. And you're like, oh, yeah, we're a really good home team. Yeah. And then in game 4, you shit down your leg. Because a guy that is an assassin, a guy that really has that dog in him, and has still lost 2016, but has that dog in him, has the I'm a killer. I'm going to stare you in the eye, and I'm going to end you. That's Steph Curry. Guess what? That's also Luka Doncic. And what's the other side of the coin? The other side of the coin is maybe the guy not that got the royal flush. Maybe he got a 3 of a kind. He got a 4 of a kind. Now he got some gifts though. He could jump out the gym. He's learned how to shoot. He's a better defender than Tatum, and I wholeheartedly believe that. He's a better defender than Tatum. And that intangible, that dog, that clutch gene, he got that in the gene pool. He got the no back down. I don't care what people say. I'm going to get out here and I'm going to do my business. If we're struggling, I'm going to the hole. You constantly see that exertion of passion and energy out of Jaylen Brown, but he's a calm and collected dude. So it's always asked, especially now, because Jaylen Brown has been the better player throughout these playoffs. But I dare you to look back at the 2022 playoffs and that finals. Jaylen Brown was basically the only Celtic that was doing something, that showed up for a moment. In a losing effort, but showed up. Jaylen Brown has that dog in him. He got the ability to make it like that. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't shy away from contact. Is not afraid to go with the trees at 6'8", 6'9", with a 40-inch vert. Strong. Likes pushing people around. A bull. Can shoot the three, can shoot the mid-range, has a package. But he has that dog in him. But when the number one star clearly doesn't, and the guy on the other side is shown since his rookie year and even before he came into the NBA that he was that guy, to me, it doesn't matter what defense you come up with. Luka's going to figure you out. It's just what it is. He figured out the Clippers. They had Kawhi for a certain amount, but then they had PG and James Harden and Terrence Mann. And guess what? Barbecue chicken. Next, SGA, Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Chet Holmgren. Next, Gobert, Ant, McDaniel, Cat, Kyle Anderson, Nas Reed. Out of here. All on the road as a 5th seed. Okay? Don't be talking to me about, oh, this is such a special team and everything. This is a 5th seed. On the road. In LA. Bounce them. On the road. Number one team in the in the West. OKC. SGA, number 2 in MVP voting, was my MVP. Personally, I think he should have won MVP. But that's besides the point. Great defense, great offense. And got him out of here. And then the number 1 defense in the league. So if he cooked the number 1 defense in the league, what in the hell do you think that the Celtics can do to do any better? I'm going to put it this way. Luka, you better hope that he comes a little off in game 1. A little off. Because if he does not, I repeat, if he does not come off, and I'm talking about off like 7 for 18, not a typical Luka game, still gets 30, but it's inefficient. Maybe the lights are too bright for him a little bit. Maybe, this is the finals and everything. Then maybe. But if Luka comes out and is just Luka, and we're talking about just Luka, not some extraterrestrial being that I know he could turn into. We all know that if he wanted to, and he wanted to raise the level, the intensity really, and put the heat on the other team, he could go out there and average 38, 15, and 10 on a good efficiency. Okay? You're not stopping Luka. Point blank period. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday. Who was it? Al Horford. Who do you want to stick on him? Who? He don't care. Can you make it tough on him? Everything? Yeah, but Who cares when he dissects you with the pass? This series is not about Luka and Kyrie. This series is about the role players around Luka and Kyrie. And so far, they've turned up to the challenge. PJ Washington, Jaden Hardy, Josh Green. We'll see what Maxi Kleber does. Derek Lively. Daniel Gafford. Derek Jones Jr. They've all stepped up to the level to meet Luka and Kyrie where they at. Like I said, if PJ Washington, mark my words, if they stick anybody who is defensively inept on him, and when I mean defensively inept is like they don't understand that, hey, he can knock down threes. If he has a 25-point game, you will lose. You will lose. If Derek Jones gives you a 15 to 20-point game, you will lose. If Tim Hardaway comes off the bench and gives you 15 to 20, you will lose. Because that's all Luka and Kyrie need. That's it. Because their defense is that good. I'm telling you, you're going to see stretches from the Boston Celtics where they cannot get a bucket. And why they're not going to get a bucket? Back to my first point. Joe Mazzulla does not make offensive adjustments. He believes in the math. That's it. You don't win with the math in the NBA Finals. You don't win statistically in the NBA Finals. Okay? That's the 2016 Warriors. You just don't do that. You don't do that. You win playing defense and being all-time great in the moments that require it the most. Iconic moments. Dallas has the guy that sunk the most clutch or the second clutch shot in NBA history. Ray Allen 2012. Ray Allen 2013 and Luka and Kyrie 2016. One was in a game 6 losing to force a game 7. That's Ray Allen. And one was to win the series for a team that hadn't won it over 40 years. Well, no, their first championship ever, actually. And in the NBA. With LeBron on the team. And he took the shot over Steph after the block and all that. So you're not going up against guys. If Mazzulla thinks that his defense is going to be so good that when you get to the fourth quarter and in the 5-minute offense against Luka and Kyrie, that he won't see the magic of Luka and Kyrie, he is sadly mistaken. Guys, I'm telling you right now, I don't expect to see a lick of Luke Cornett. A lick. I am not talking about a minute, a 10-second spurt, unless it's an absolute blowout, which I don't think there will be any, because this team's, although they're super powered in different aspects, they're still close. And this is the NBA Finals. Not a lot of blowouts. Unless, 2017, 2017-18 Warriors. That's the greatest team ever assembled. But I do not believe in the slightest that the better clutch team is Boston. Absolutely not. Why are Kyrie and Luka so good in clutch time? Well, one, they have the clutch team. That's just innate. They love the moment. They live for it. Okay? Kind of like Steph, kind of like Dame, LeBron. I mean, got to put them in there. Mike is Mike and Kobe are like the pinnacles of that. But More than that. You already gave these guys 3.5 quarters to figure you out. There is nothing else you can throw. What does it turn into? Throw a body. That's what the fourth quarter and especially the last 5 minutes of a playoff NBA final is gonna come down to. It's what it's always come down to. Throw a body. Throw a body at the superstar and see if it affects him in the slightest. Most of the time, it does not. Mike, Kobe, Wade, Bron, Curry, Giannis, it does not. But I seen it affect Jason Tatum in round 1. I've seen it affect Jason Tatum against somebody of his stature this last year in the regular season at home. That's another thing. The better home team is the Dallas Mavericks. There's not a discussion there for me. There's not a discussion there for me. You know, I know the role players are going to show up at home. I've seen it. And I've seen Boston crumble at home. Absolutely crumble. Now, they have this attitude that doesn't matter if a team goes up 20, that they're going to get back. That they're going to get back with their defense and everything like that. Nah. Nah. You got to understand that if you fall behind by 20 against a no Tyrese Halliburton, a no Jimmy Butler, a no Donovan Mitchell led, Cavs, Heat, or Indiana, oh, yeah. Oh, you could come back for sure. Your defense is going to be good enough to get you back. Absolutely. You think you're coming back from a 20-point deficit against the Dallas Mavericks? Are you stupid? You're smoking on something. I believe the Dallas Mavericks can come back from a 20-point deficit against Boston because they can get that hot and then execute on the defensive end. Then Boston coming back from 20 down against Luka and if you're 20 down against Luka and Kyrie, that means they're cooking. You know what they're going to keep continuing to do? Cook. I'm sorry. If you catch Luka or Kyrie on a bender, I am talking about 40 plus. If you catch them on any that type of night, when the other one is just having a good night, which is like a 30 ball, you ain't winning. You're not. Because I believe that the rim protection and the perimeter, not the perimeter defense, but the rim protection with Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively is enough to deter half-hearted Jason Tatum going to the rim. It's not going to deter Jaylen Brown. Although it might bother him, the 7 foot, the 7 foot strong, bodies of Gafford and Lively. But Jason Tatum going into a Twin Towers filled paint? No, man. No, because when he gets tired, he does not go to the rim. He turns into wannabe Michael Jordan, Kobe turnaround jumper fadeaway that he don't got. It's not in the bag. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, the step back 3 in between the legs, step back to the side, Curry shot, it's not in the bag. It's in the bag 31% of the time. That's not in the bag. Okay, that's not even a Ziploc. I'm gonna say something about Steph because people were saying like, oh, his name came up, and on Twitter, they posted something. I just wanted to say it. Steph Curry's career shooting splits at the rim. He's 6'3" at the rim, 65.2%. Step back 3, one of those that I was talking about, 53.2%. The pull-up, which is what Kyrie does in transition, 52.9, basically 53%. Corner three, 49%. Open three, 47%. This is career. Mid-range, which is basically the midi, 46%. Catch and shoot three, 44%. Three after 7 dribbles, so cooking you, 42%. Three from plus 25 feet out, big range, 30, 27, 28. Regular shot for Steph, 42%. And then the one that's worst in his career is a heavily contested three. He's still at 38. It's not in the bag, Tatum. It's not. It's more in the bag of Jaylen Brown than in you, especially down the stretch. I've seen you miss wide open threes. You think you're going to take a step back, turn around midi when you see Luka or Kyrie just cooking on the other end? Nah, because you're going to be tired. You're going to feel that wave of like, oh my God, what's happening? It's closing in on me again. And this time it's not one guy. Steph did that with just Clay and Draymond in a lesser role. His best running mate was Andrew Wiggins. You got Kyrie on the other side, son. Okay? You think if you get... So let's say it goes like this. Game 1. Luka establishes himself. He's like, 25 in the first half. 25. We can see that from Luka, right? Let's say Kyrie drops 15. 13. What happens when Luka decides to just give the ball to Kyrie? Kyrie gonna drop a 25-point half. What do you think Luka's gonna do? Drop a 20-point half. What that results to? Them scoring more than 70 together, and boom, you just lost game 1 at home in the NBA Finals when you were heavily favored by 6.5 points. Oh my God, we gotta wake up. No, there is no more there is no waking up. This is reality. The reality is that this team is not built for it. The dog is not there. What you need is not there. And I feel bad for Drew. I feel bad for Jaylen Brown especially. Horford's 17th year, but it's gonna come up short. You have 2 giant disadvantages that nobody has ever overcome. And that is they have the better coach and they have the better player. They also have the duo that can go for 90 and it looks like a normal game. Okay? Now let's say, we're going to hard double Luka. That's going to work for maybe, 3 possessions? Go ahead, hard double Luka. Go ahead, see what happens. What's going to happen, this is what's going to happen. He's going to pass it to Kyrie. Kyrie's going to swing. And PJ Washington going to take a comfortable, wide open 3. If not, you go close out. He's going to drive past you. And there comes Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford crashing for the alley-oop. Oh, you crash? Oh, you left Luka or Kyrie open at the top of the key. Splash. You played perfect defense for 23.9 seconds and still got burned. That's what happened to Minnesota. That's exactly what happened to Minnesota the last 3 games that they won. They played perfect defense, and at 23.9 seconds, Luka and Kyrie said, it doesn't matter. They laughed at it. Because this is what these guys do. They laugh at it. They don't feel no pressure. They got Jason Kidd on their side, a savant at the basketball level. You see him shooting 33s, 35 threes. I heard today, oh, the Mavs are gotta hope that they hold the Boston Celtics to under 35 threes. 35 threes? You ain't gonna get no 35 threes. This is not Indiana, who was defensively inept. This is not Jared. Without Jared Allen, Cleveland, and this is not under-talented Miami. I'm sorry. It's just not. And I think Derek Jones will do a good job on Jason Tatum on the other side. I think the most dangerous player in Boston it starts with Jaylen Brown and then goes Kristaps Porzingis. Then I worry about Jason Tatum. Because if Porzingis is hitting his 3 and scoring 24, that means Jaylen Brown has 25 plus. That means Jason Tatum has an open rim and starts getting confident about going to the rim and everything. That's what you should be concerned if you're a Dallas Maverick fan. How does KP come back from a calf strain? Is he himself? Especially on the defensive end. I am not even talking about the offensive end. I'm talking about the defensive end. Because what's the first thing they're gonna do? Luka's gonna be like, who's defending KP? Or who's on KP on offense? Oh, Derek Jones Jr. Let me get that screen. Come here, boy. I'm gonna test that. I'm gonna test that calf strain. I'm gonna see if that's real healed up. 7-3. Come over here, lanky. Let's see what you got. I played against you and did not like you, so I'm gonna cook you, and that's what he's gonna do. Unless that strain is perfectly healed, he can contest, he can explode. He gonna be barbecue chicken. Kyrie, where? Let me get Peyton Pritchard. Let me get Hauser up here. You want to play your bench? You ain't playing your bench. You ain't gonna play your bench. Your rotation stops at Al Horford because KP's on the floor. If you put in Peyton Pritchard or Hauser or Cornette into this series, those minutes will be minus 150 for the Boston Celtics. Every minute that Tatum and Brown are not on the floor is a minute that I know Dallas is getting a good shot. Why is Dallas getting a good shot? At no point in the game will there not be no Kyrie and no Luka on the floor. There will always be one. What does that mean? If there's one, there has to be one for the Celtics. Somebody going to play 48 minutes. Somebody going to play 45. Somebody's going to be the Josh Hart of this series on either side. And I see Luka being able to do that because they've done it before. He's played 40 plus. No problems. I don't see the benches. I see more the bench of the Mavericks with Gafford, if they don't start him, or Lively, if they don't start him, Josh Green, maybe Jaden Hardy, Kleber. Like, there's a lot more Powell. There's a lot more that they can choose. Tim Hardaway Jr. There's a lot more that they can choose from, that they can feel confident in their ability, whether it's offensively or defensively. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been struggling, but he can get hot. We've seen it before. But if you're telling me as a Boston fan, looking me eye to eye, and that first sub package comes out for the guards and you see Peyton Pritchard out there against Luka or Kyrie, you are praying for 30 seconds and a timeout. Because if not, you're going to see your lead, if you have any, and if you don't have, you're going to see a lead grow and grow. And you'll be like, oh my God, it's only been 2 minutes and we're already down 8. That's what you got to do. You don't got to deal with when everybody's on the floor. They might cancel each other out. What are you going to do when Tatum or Brown or Porzingis is off the floor? You think you're going to give the ball to Derek White? He's going to score every single time? You're going to get the best shot every single time with Derek White and Drew Holiday running the offense. What about when Drew goes to the bench and they have Kyrie out there? You're going to put Peyton Pritchard on Kyrie? You're about to see you're about to see what Curry did to Dellavedova. Yeah, Kyrie got a good look at that. That's what you're going to see. Barbecue chicken. Okay? Don't talk to me about when both teams are on the floor. Talk to me when one of the guys is not on the floor. Talk to me when you need a bucket 3 minutes. Both teams haven't scored. We need a bucket. It's down. We're down 1. We're tied. You need a bucket. 3 minutes. Who you trusting? You're gonna trust Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, 26-footer? Step back? Or are you gonna trust Luka methodically going down the lane, maybe getting a lob, maybe collapsing the defense, passing to Kyrie. Kyrie gets open into the lane, crash. Luka, what is the poison you want to die from? Is what I'm asking Boston. Because they're going to have to pick one. It is not as easy as just like, one of them, Kyrie or Luka, you got to shut them down, and then, you shut everybody else down. Nah. Play Luka single cover. You know what? I think that's what they're going to do. I think that's exactly what they're going to do game 1 tomorrow. They're going to play Luka one-on-one with Jaylen Brown. That is their first strategy call. Let's see how long that happens before Luka has 25 on good efficiency, gone to the line, and Brown has 3 fouls on him in the first half. And then hasn't given you anything on the offensive side. Remember what I said last pod? The rebounding edge, I give it to the Mavs. Ain't no way Luke Cornett is going out there or Al Horford's going out there against Gafford, PJ Washington, and Lively and grabbing rebounds, not to mention Luka. Nah. This possession is ending as soon as you shoot that shot and that shit's a brick. That's when this possession is ending. And Luka's in let's see the transition points off turnovers, and offensive rebounding. Just with that, I'll tell you who wins the series, and I promise you is the Mavs. Okay? Now let's talk legacy. What does this championship do for the Boston Celtics? Well, they get banner 18, go back to number 1 in NBA history for the banners. They become the Yankees again. Okay? It automatically puts Jason Tatum in the stratosphere of the Birds and Paul Pierce and KG and Ray Allen and Havlicek, Bob Cousy, Bill Russell. But it's only one championship. And I heard it on ESPN today. It's about time. That's the sentiment that Boston will feel and that the NBA world will feel. All you Boston fans, be souls. I respect y'all. But what you're going to feel is it's about time. Okay? You're going to celebrate Jason Tatum. You're going to celebrate Jaylen Brown. Now, there is a question on both sides. I'm being very honest here. On both sides on who could actually be the finals MVP. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's 4 people that could win that award. 4. The favorite is Jason Tatum. Guess what? He's going to lose the series. So, no, he's not going to win it. It's going to be a Mavericks player. But the favorite is Jason Tatum. Luka's number 2. And then Brown and Kyrie. Kyrie can win this finals MVP. All he has to do is average 30. On 50, 40, 90. That's it. 50, 40, 90, 30. Finals MVP. Tatum has to outplay Jaylen Brown in the biggest moments. Jaylen Brown can't have no game winners. Jaylen Brown cannot have no fourth quarter performances. Because as we saw with the 2015 finals, where they gave it to Andre Iguodala, if you're a defensive menace and your offense not matches the star, but is important enough, it's possible to get the finals MVP. And coming off the Western Conference MVP, or the Eastern Conference MVP, maybe he feels it. I've always felt that Jaylen Brown has a James Harden-esque type of shine about him when it comes to scoring. You can tell that he could score 30 pretty easily if he wanted to. But he does pride himself on the defensive end and expends himself on that side as well. So 28 is fine. 27 is fine. But that does not mean that if Jaylen Brown scores 30 on good efficiency and defends Luka and they win, Jaylen Brown should be the Finals MVP. Because he would have outplayed, and if you guys have recency bias or don't want to look at history, and I know that they don't look at history maybe for the award, but it's in the subconscious of the people who vote, Jaylen Brown was the best player in the 2022 Finals versus the Warriors of the Celtics. Because Jason Tatum averaged 17. Or 22, but 17 the last 3 games. Like, you can't tell me it's a dog when it's not. That's a puppy. Okay, and if we're talking legacy-wise, I believe that the question mark is going to be, can they do it again? And even if they win, that answer is still no. Because there is no way you will get an easier path than this year. Embiid will come back. Giannis and Dame will be better. Brunson will be better, and maybe with another co-star. You still got to deal with the Heat, whatever we want to do, whether it's go get 36-year-old KD or go get Donovan, something. I don't expect us to do anything crazy, but you still got Indiana. You still got Orlando. So you got problems. You got legit problems. And I'm telling you right now, if they lose this finals, this duo is going to be looked at very differently in NBA history. Very differently. Especially if Jaylen Brown is the better player. There's going to be some very tough conversations happening. Now let's go to the other side. Let's go to the Mavs. Luka with this championship becomes the youngest super duper ooper star to win it at 25. Okay, because when Dwayne Wade won it, he wasn't a super duper ooper star. He was in his 3rd year. Granted, he averaged 37 in the finals, but he wasn't like Luka. Okay? He would cement himself as one of the greatest Europeans to ever come into the NBA, top 3. If you're thinking of the top 3 right now as Dirk, Jokic, Luka, or Manu at 3rd, and then you got Luka 4th. I think he firmly places himself 1 or 2. Jokic has a lot to do as well, and that's what we're going to talk about as well if they lose, but Luka will be 1 or 2 in the best player in the NBA discussion. And he will become the international face of the NBA. And I say international as in like the world will be his oyster. Not just America. The world. He's already signed to Jordan. Jordan knew what he was doing. He took it from LeBron. LeBron wanted him as his first athlete under the LeBron name. And Jordan took him. Because he knew. A championship for Kyrie takes completely away the stench of Brooklyn, Boston, all the COVID stuff. It takes completely that stench away and is fully embraced as an all-time great. And forever will be known as one of those guys. Cements him as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Cements him into the next top 25 all time when they added to the top 75 team, the top 100 team. NBA 100, I guess they're going to call it, in about 23 years, 24 years. He'll be in that. Should have been top 25, but he'll be in that. And he will also get rid of the stigma that it was all LeBron in Cleveland. And opens himself a runway of maybe 2-3 years of maybe trying to get another one with Luka. Championship for Jason Kidd becomes, I think, only handful of coaches to win one as a coach, win one as a player, and win one as a coach. Steve Kerr, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson. I'm missing a couple. I'm definitely missing a couple. Tyronn Lue. Those are the ones I remember by my brain right now. Puts him in an elk. He's already a top 75 player, one of the greatest point guards of all time, arguably top, not arguably. Magic, Steph, Isaiah, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd with the championships, though, and the 3 finals appearances as a player, and then a finals appearance as a coach. Yeah, I think it'd be Magic, Steph, Isaiah, Jason Kidd. Will be cemented as a great coach as well. And that team will have a runway with the youngness of 25, Luka not being at his fully formed self, Kyrie taking care of his body, being his great self for another 5-6 years, Derek Lively getting better, PJ Washington getting better, Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, maybe bringing in somebody else to be just a compliment, just like a third piece, just like a Chris Middleton, type of guy if they want to. Not even, Daniel Gafford's going to grow. He's in his 20s. So there's a lot of runway there if they do win. But if they lose, it might be seen as like, the one that got away. And the reason I say that is not because I don't believe Luka or Kyrie or Jason Kidd can get back there in next year or even the year after. But the road is going to be so tough. You ask the Celtics, hey, can you come back next year? They'll probably be like, yeah, we can. And to some extent, like, you could believe, like, yeah, maybe they do. They can. In the West? No. I don't think we're seeing the same team coming out of the West in the next 5-6 years. I think I think it's going to be a different team unless somebody just goes berserk, like a Luka, like a Ant, like a Jokic, like a Wemby. Think about this in the West. There's people that were injured this year and caused teams not to be in the playoff race. The Grizzlies, John Morant. Zion was not in the playoffs because he got hurt in the playing game after dropping 40. And probably would have won that game. That's another team. Steph and the Warriors will retool. The Lakers will always retool. Shout out to JJ Redick. You're probably going to be the coach. At this point, Shams has basically announced it, that you're going to be the coach. They're zeroing in on JJ Redick as the coach. We know it's JJ. Shout out to JJ. From sharpshooter to ESPN to coach of the Lakers. Incredible. And I love him too. Love that dude. Shout out the old man and 3. The Lakers. Clippers are going to do something. And then you got Wemby coming. Wemby will be in the playoff race next year. That's not to mention Ant in the Timberwolves, Jokic in the Denver, and OKC with SGA. We didn't even mention those. That's why you got to get it this year. You got to get it at your age 25 season. This series overall will show us that it doesn't matter how much NBA media wants you to believe something. It doesn't matter how much, accolades a team gets in the regular season. It doesn't matter how much a player has to get pushed or is getting pushed as an agenda to be the next one, because the NBA Finals shows us all. They wanted to crown him 2 years ago. Steph Curry stomped on that. Now he's 26, going up against a 25-year-old and a 32-year-old with his partner being 27. Young team. Battle-tested. Every single label that you can think of. 6 conference finals in 8 years. Every other team to have done that. Championships, at least one. Most of them, multiple. Don't give me point differential. Don't give me offensive rating and defensive efficiency. Don't give me more made threes, more taken threes. I don't want none of that. The finals show who are the dogs for real. Who are the king of kings of this mountain. For the last 25 years, besides the Heat, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Toronto, and Boston in 08, it has been the Western Conference. That's just a fact. The fact. Because the Western Conference is the stronger conference. You're tested more throughout the season. Eastern Conference is for babies. Because everybody gets hurt. No, Atlanta don't play no defense. Charlotte's a free win. Detroit's a free win. The Wizards are a free win. That's why you got 64 wins. I'd rather take the 5th seed that has gone on the road and knocked off everybody in their way. No questions. That's just me. So I think that's what this series is going to define. Who's right? NBA media or real hoop heads that see what's really going on? See the talent that we're seeing in Luka Doncic. The type of caliber of player that he will be in his career. Already averaging the 3rd most points per game in a career ever, behind Mike and Wilt at 28.7. Mike is the only one to average 30 for a career. So, with Luka having 15 years left on this runway, if he wins it now, the legacy just becomes cemented. Now he just builds on everything. Because he's the catalyst. He is the one. Not no Jason Tatum. And that's what we're going to learn in this NBA Finals. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Thursday morning for you guys. Let's enjoy the finals. Go Panthers against the Edmonton Oilers. Hopefully Verstappen doesn't win this weekend in F1. Paul Skeens was pitching today. We'll see how he did. And see how he's doing. Jared Jones pitched yesterday, but I didn't see the highlights, so I want to see the highlights after this episode and have a fresh mind about how these young pitchers are doing. We go on a full road course weekend with Indy and NASCAR at road courses. Absolutely love it. Gotta love sports. NFL training camp is around the corner-ish. CeeDee Lamb wants a new contract. Of course, Jamar. I mean, there is a lot of moving and grooving. A lot of people not at practice. Brandon Ayuk. I like the new uniforms for the Texans. And I'm excited for the Eminem album. I'm also excited for the Roddy Ricch album that's coming. And Kendrick, where are you at? I need that album. Drake is doing some goofy shit with some Wagwan Delilah. And You My Everything with Sexy Red. I don't know what he's doing. He's confused. Kendrick just discombobulated him mentally. But But yeah, man, I love all y'all. Thank you all for everything. Thank you all for the support. We're only growing. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments. I love you guys, and I'll leave you with the outro.
Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no pueden entender.